Iceberg ES sell. Sweep NQ. Stop NQ buy. Stop ES buy. Iceberg N.
Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go. So, that was a wild CPI data release right here, getting a bunch of contracts pinged in here. They brought it up to bring it down on a lot of the longs here. Like if we go back just to this last hour, thousands of contracts entered, only a few few leave. 2 men enter, 1 trade leaves. So the essence, they brought it up and they brought it down and stopped out a bunch, triggered in a bunch of shorts, and then started to bring it back into the fray here and brought it up here. Now we're coming down to a meandering beneath the point of control. Had a bunch stopped out here down at the bottom at 452 and below, even went as low as 417, had 120 contracts stopped out there. A little bit too volatile for my blood, although in the pre-market we were catching this bottom idea here. We'll go ahead and show you where that existed and what we're doing in the Discord for Momentum Master. Let's make sure everything is squared away on the sound side of things. Everything good on the sound. Prehab, what's up? Rainier, what's going on? Hopefully sound is good. So basically pre-market around 2 hours in, we were looking at this little bullish divergence here. Took it for 50 ticks, got stopped out into profit. Did not take this run to the upside thereafter, but there was a bullish divergence, a hidden bullish on there as well. That was a massive drop on the news play. Hopefully somebody out there took it. Session delta is currently positive again, 546 contracts positive at the point of control, back at 500. Cloud is healthily rising here and bouncing off the cloud, on the 30-second, insinuating it wants to go higher perhaps. Funny, leading into this, they had a weak momentum, insinuating on Momentum Master Optima that you were going to see some downside ensue. I was putting my son to bed, did not catch that at all, but it was interesting to say the least. Good, audio good. Nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Renko, which are a noise reduction filter, looking at how things are. So we basically came up, retested off the 50 SMA on the 16 bar, shot up just above, did not take out the high range here at 520, and basically could be coming slightly lower. 32 bar is neutral now, was previously bearish with this ABC to the downside, starting to make a market shift, possibly pulling back, consolidating here at the 50. Could be coming back to the 50 on the 16 bar as well. You're starting to come to the 8 bar, 50 SMA on the Renko bar charts. You're having some liquidity still engineered up above. These are all of the unbroken zones up above on the 8 bar, and of course what we came out of this range creating as well. Any other high impact news other than that? I don't think so. Let's go ahead and see. Pretty sure it's done with for the day. Crude oil inventories, low impact, I think. Medium. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and throw up the heads up display. What is it that we're looking at on TradingView? Link in the description for more. Momentum Master, scroll down to features, toggle at your leisure, and look at each component as they come into prominence. Most currently, the trend cloud holding, burst up, trend cloud potentially holding. Let's go ahead and look at the 4-minute. Starting to get a cross up on the 4-minute, could see play up some more. Cross down event on the 30-second and the 1-minute though. If we start to take this 1 minute to the 2, we can see that the 2 minutes fatiguing as well. 2-minute has been fatiguing since prior to the open. You had a bunch of down fingers, bearish divergence, money flow, burn off, and then boom, drop to the downside into some hidden bullish on the money flow, which played out. So if we just look at this hour for what it's worth, there's obviously the point of control at 500, the largest amount in there. Huge amount of buys at that level. Huge amount of sells just below the point of control. So if they stay above the point of control, obviously they've trapped some shorts and we'll take them for a squeeze. If we look at the 15 minutes candles, in the 15 minutes drop here, you had a bunch of buys coming in here, which were most likely longs, which they did not really come back to stop unless, if we go back in here, so you had a bunch of buys come in here, came back, tried to stop them out as best as they could, started to shift back up. So there's a fair amount of buys that entered back here, 9:36, so that was about 25 minutes ago. There's about 700 contracts of buys that were definitely longs here for the most part. I mean, yeah, sure, you could have had some shorts that entered down here, but most likely you had some longs from up here stopped out down here in the sells, causing a bounce. Maybe some shorts were inside that mix of contracts here, but more likely than not, you had some people looking to break 500 and hold. So these guys, these 800 contracts or so, they're on that 30 minutes ago, are trying to give the illusion of potentially going higher, not really giving them so much profit here. Seeing more contracts opening up here, looking to possibly come lower. Breaking the cloud on the 30-second, which is waning. possibly coming back to the 200 on the 8 bar, which would be the 50 on the 16 bar for a pullback kind of retest for strength. Let's do a small theory here. Wait, what? Am I not connected? Where I want it? Weird. Would it let me do it? That's weird. I guess because I'm connected to this. Hold on. Hold up. Timing is important. Yep, missed it. It's all good. Would have been a good entry right there at the 500 region. Would have already trimmed too. It's all good. Broke the cloud. Coming back to the 1 minute cloud here. You had some bearish divergence, money flow, and otherwise no money stacking onto the table here, money flying away on Optima. Hopefully we get some more people trickling on in. Maybe people are still waking up, getting their coffee and stuff. How's everyone doing today? So you see this curvature here that I was trying to execute, but it did not execute here. I was trying to see this drop break through the cloud. I was going to take that for what it was worth, but it didn't execute for whatever reason. I guess the rhythmic was not connected properly on NinjaTrader, so let me just disconnect it. Wait, it says you have an active order. That's weird. Yes. So the order didn't execute or something? Hold up. Let's go to the positions, orders. That's weird. Odd. Let's close it anyway. So we were hoping that it would pull back, and we were seeing that it was potentially going to. We hit the sell button, it didn't do anything, so we disconnected Rhythmic and connected it up to the Copy Trader, and earlier today, this is what we were looking at down here. We had a bullish divergence on the 30-second starting to form, and then that cascaded into this bullish divergence, which shot up from 466 and then managed to give, where was that? Boom, this bounce up twice up into the 500 region. Okay, so you're coming back to the cloud. Now, if you fail at this, you already broke the 1 minute. 1 minute also started to curve here. We already ascertained that there were some pools up top that were queued in terms of at the 500 level, so they could basically ABC this down some more. That's weird that it says an active order. It doesn't say active trade, just an active order. So my order didn't fill or something, I guess. Wait, why is it? Rejected. Why was it rejected? The account is not connected. Ah, okay. There you go. It was lagged, timed out, or whatever. Okay, so we're back at the 200 on the 8 bar. Super trend 1 on the 16 bar. Just below the 50 on the 32 bar for the Renko noise reduction system. Getting that bounce up to the cloud, potentially speaking. Cross-up event confirmed on the 30-second. Money stacking on the table on the 30-second and 1 minute. Got about 200 stopped out there. Cumulative deltas forming positive back at VWAP on the daily. Generating some buy order interest in this level. Still have a lot of buys inside these candles. What is that I'm looking at in terms of the footprints? That link is also in the description. It's 𝗥𝗲𝗍 trading platform. Quite fascinating. Free 14-day trial. You can try it out. You can do trades and connect up your accounts and do all the trading and ATM strategies on that if you prefer that to NinjaTrader. You can also link up multiple Rhythmic accounts and trade multiple Rhythmic at the same time, I believe, with a single execution order. I have to look into that in the future. Ten minutes to the open. Getting that cloud kiss of the bearish nature, perhaps. If you flip this, it's the same type of bullish idea. Looking for that cloud kiss to the downside, perhaps. It's also happening on the 1 minute for a C continuation if it rejects off this bearish super trend at 495. They're essentially just going sideways within this range back to where we started pre-news release. So it had a little bit of a catharsis, releasing some of the pressure. If it holds above that, why is it? Hold on. Hide this. So if it holds above the 498 region, you have this bunch of sells that are feasibly shorts that they could be squeezing if that's the level they're holding above the point of control at 500. Then they could be taking these, how many contracts is it? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, over 2,000 contracts of sells beneath that point of control at 500 that they could be taking for a ride if they hold the 500 region and above. They're definitely getting contracts laid up on both sides of the aisle. You have a bunch of buys coming in here, buys coming in, definitely longs here. Some shorts stopped out from the long stopped out from up here down below here at 477, just going sideways, also pinging in some shorts possibly here. So they're trying to apply pressure to both sides at the moment. You had a bunch of shorts either enter here or longs peel out at the top at the value area high. Back at 500, reclaim the cloud. Let's mark off the hour of power coming up in basically an hour and 37 minutes. 7 minutes to the open. Shout out to everyone who is stopping on in. If you could just say what's up in the chat, that'd be lovely to see who's watching. And or listening. So the cross-up events are quite nice. These little things here on Momentum Master, these little baselines, your first signs of reversal. You see that play out with a little bit of bullish divergence. It's kind of deadly, to say the least. And if you watch that cascade to the higher time frames, then even better. Starting to get the cascade on the 4 minute here. Yeah, it's some bullish divergence on the 4 minute with the money bag. So you could be seeing this bullish divergence play out to the upside. Take a look at the 2 minute real quick. 2 minute also had mini bullish divergence here. You had the larger bullish divergence here. That was captured when you switched to the 4 minute. Here, boom. Money flow divergence as well. Also continuation here, hidden bullish. 4 minutes, less than. Oh, nice. Cloud on the 1 minute getting slightly thin here, if you notice. Curvature possibly in this manner. Do one last analysis of the footprints and then we'll get ready for the open in 2 minutes. Starting to get a bunch of buys here. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 500 plus some of the sells of potentially longs, taking out some of their profits from down below into the buyers. We're just hanging out at the 500 point of control level. Fair amount on both sides. Hard to make heads or tails. We have overall session delta positive 564 contracts. And 1 more minute. The interesting pre-market thing to note, which may have already played out, which is the bullish divergence on the 4 minute here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go up to the 530 and take out these relatively equal highs up here at the 530 region, and then maybe take it lower after that time. We'll play it by ear as the divergence and stuff form. And we are getting ready to open. And here we go. Volatility inbound. Well, stopped out. Cross down event on the 1 minute, starting to express possible bounce off the cloud here on the 30 seconds. That was a little quick scalp. Quicker than a human can react. That's why it's automated. So we're coming up to the 530 region to take out those relatively equal highs. Reclaimed. Bounce off the cloud on the 30 second and the 1 minute here, that thinning. and that reclaim of the cloud was your clue. I guess stopped out on the first scalp, took a second one in that region, took it for a good 30-40 ticks. I don't really know the exact number. Still going. ABC. See ya later. So we were saying if it holds above that 500 region, there was a bunch of sells down below to the tune of like 1,000 contracts or something. So those are possibly trapped shorts, which they're now taking for a ride. The 32 bar now expressing itself as bullish. This could be one of those open prints that just never peels back after this point, because they already had a rundown early into the session, the pre-market. Maybe they already caked in the news information. This could be one of those long and chill days. You never know. Starting to pull back to the super trend on the 8 bar here. Hitting the 200 on the 32. So you had a rise, and now you could be having a pullback. Slight bearish divergence on the 32nd here. So that could have stopped out a majority of the shorts. We're looking for this reaction off the cloud slash super trend. We got that first reaction off the cloud there. Also coincides with the super trend on the 16 bar, super trend 3 on the 8. 8 bar is now neutralized. So that hidden bullish on the 4-minute was pretty boss right there. Pre-market insinuations. Cloud pretty thick and holding. Second kiss off the cloud, boom, boom. 1 minute super trend still holding since way back here about an hour ago. Listening on the drive to work. Interesting. How's the commute? Breaking the 50 region, perhaps. At the outskirts of the Keltner on the 30 and the 1. Go ahead and switch to the 4 bar here. All right, so we're coming back into could be a pivot. Cloud tapering ever so slight on the 30-second, but not super keen on it just yet. Let me go ahead and see what's cooking on the contracts. So you had about 254 in that one region at 550, stopped out of shorts and or trapped longs. 254 contracts, 176 just below that, and 215 just below that. So about 700 contracts up in that region at the 550 level. And let's go see what else is cooking. You had a bunch of sells there too. Okay, looking at the nitty gritty of the 2 minute, you had a bunch of sells open up, they dropped down. 2 minutes later, did some more sells of the buys that were open up there, and came back, stopped out some of, and induced some of the buys here from the shorts that entered there. Have a large amount of buys over in this region in the last 2 minutes. Essentially going sideways for the last few minutes here. Some more bearish divergence forming on the 30-second. Like to see a little bit more of a burst up with maintaining that bearish divergence. Money flow is beneath the RSI on both the 1 minute and the 30-second, suggesting that disparity is winding up for a push of the money flow up, perhaps. Cloud is curving in a manner here on the 30-second and the 1 minute, starting to curve, but still mighty thick in terms of volume. It's a volume-weighted cloud, so not thinning just yet. Bursting up above the 54, 57 level. Hit that 50 on the 8 bar and peeled out. So you're starting to get this thinning, this slight bearish divergence forming on the 1 minute, now 2. Let's go ahead and see how this is working out on the contractual end of things. So you're seeing some sells enter into this last candle. 300. Let's do the cumulative over here on the 15. Wait, we just dropped a huge amount? Oh. That bearish divergence just played out for like $20 right there. Boom. $20 of price action, dropped back to the cloud instantaneously. Stopping out any mini players right there. And it's essentially creating a channel. If we use the regression trend and just do 2 clicks, you can see this channel that it's creating. Cloud is also giving you that order block potential for where it's refueling off of. And that's where the money flow winding up for something, it like curves back and then brings it up. So the RSI came down to the money flow at that point. Now the money flow is even Steven, ready to continue higher perhaps. That disparity, something to back test. You can notice when those two separate, the money flow and the RSI, they start to come back together and gravitate. Back and stop, like that instantaneous drop is to stop out all of the minis like that have tight trailing stops there. All of those new contracts are all buyers, as in longs, in that last 2 minutes. We just closed out the 15-minute candle. $15 minutes till the hourly close. We're just below that 700 plus, close to 800 buy orders at 550. So in terms of range bound price action, we basically came back to a certain level here on the 32 bar, but we did not reach the top of the range, which would take you all the way up to the 600 area. We're kind of at the midway point. If you go to the 8 bar, we did have some areas. We dropped down here from the 620 region that is above here. If this will actually move properly, it's quite laggy because there's a lot of indicators on this chart. Let me just go ahead and do this then. Hopefully it can move. Why would it lag up like it's using the virtual machine, I guess, but it's on a Mac Studio, so there should be no lag issues whatsoever. Starting to break the cloud on the 32nd, coming back to the 1 minute cloud. That bearish divergence starting to play out here. Drop down from the 57 level down to the 39, 40. Now starting to bounce off the cloud of the 1 minute. Back up. It's just this range bound channel. Basically in this channel. Can this move? Like, it's like frozen. That's too bad. Too much stuff on that 8 bar chart froze up the chart. What I can do is close out the NinjaTrader and do it again. No. All right, whoops. Essentially going higher, perhaps, within the channel. Next zone would be up in the 60 region. Still accumulating some bearish divergence. The cloud getting thinner now on the 32nd. Curvature on the 1 minute is getting inbound as well. All right. Is it logged in? Let's try. Starting to reclaim possibly that 65 region on the 8 bar here. We took that initial burst of the open to the upside, and then we were flat after that moment, just to be clear. It's possible you have like a runner that you're nursing to success, but starting to break down now at the 30-second cloud, just coming back to the 1 minute. Got some money flow burn off there. Money's flying away. Finger down, do not enter long, saying alignment to the downside. Cross down events on the 1 minute and the 30-second. inbound. And that could have been some beautiful bearish divergence play from the 59 level all the way down to the $25 range. I wasn't liking the chop, so I didn't play it, but the indicator did have the bearish divergence building leading into that play quite nicely. And the thinning of the cloud on the trend cloud starting to break beneath this channel. And the 1 minute cloud. Let's look at the 4 minute. 4 minute also had bearish divergence forming. You can see here, bearish divergence. The previous leading into the open bullish divergence did play out, and you're starting to see the bearish divergence now starting to cascade. The finger down is when there's like multiple lower time frames in alignment with the momentum to the downside, and that's what happened there. Just as you pierced that cloud to the downside, and you had that Copy money flow divergence here, bearish one, the burn off, holding the super trend on the 30-second for the second time here. Starting to break it. Anyone taking any of these scalps? So you broke the super trend on the 30-second now. Bearish divergence possibly cascading higher. Going back to 500. Back to where we opened. Weighted moving average bounce right here. Also happened to be the super trend on the 1 minute. Super trend is kind of flat. We'll see if it gives a reaction. We're beneath the 16 bar 50 SMA, so a lot of these SMA players are going to get taken for a ride here if they're trying to play this to the upside. 8 bar has turned bearish. You could be coming back to 492 region for the pullback on the 32. If it is a sustainable upside play, coming to 492 might be a reasonable thought to have. Also be the weighted moving average, the adaptive on this 30-second chart. This is like the second day this week, maybe, where we had this pullback into the open, and then you'll see this like kind of bounce at some point. I like divergences. Like, I should have played this divergence, but you know, it was a little bit too choppy for my liking. I would like to see a 2 clean hit with a clear divergence. It wasn't the cleanest of plays for me, but played out nonetheless. You're seeing this weighted moving average potentially slash super trend here on the 1 minute, getting a bounce. Cross up on the 30-second now. This could be your kiss to the cloud kind of deal. You got this like shift of the cloud here, and then you could be coming back for that. Back to the 3-8 level. Got 3 minutes till the hourly candle close. Let's go ahead and take a look here. I'm going to take a look at the hourly on this rightmost chart real quick. You do have a cross up on the hourly that is supporting this kind of play potential to the upside here to reclaim some of this liquidity over to the left at the 600 region after that drop down. So we could see a sustainable play coming to the upside after a pullback. Was this the pullback where the only pullback we get? Four-minute cloud still sustaining upside momentum after that bearish divergence. That could have been just the bearish divergence you got. You reclaimed the cloud on the 1 minute completely. Could be running to the 600 region now. If it does do this run on liquidity, if it's a trend-based thing, it could go back into the 600s to take out these pools on the higher time frame after the drop down pre-market into the CPI. Hourly candle closes in 30 seconds. $17. Not yet. What's not yet? Now the algorithm kicks off. To which direction is the liquidity? It gauges. Reclaiming the 30-second cloud, there's a slight shift in the angle here on the 30-second if it can maintain this 35 region. 1 minute cloud as well, the tapering of the 1 minute cloud suggesting slight fatigue. If it breaks beneath it, it's possibly the pullback idea. On the 1 minute, you did have this bullish divergence that started to play out here as we reclaimed the cloud. if we can maintain this cloud. It's all about the maintaining or not. Starting to fade beneath the cloud on the 30-second and the 1 minute right now. Needs to get above if it's going to maintain this. Otherwise, pullback is inbound. You're kind of playing chop suey on the 16 bar here and on the 8 bar. No clear signals on the Renko. It's actually more noisy. Hitting the 200 on the weighted. Could see a pullback on the 32 bar. Starting to break the 50 level. It's reaching that like equilibrium point where it's just gauging who's interested in what side. This hidden bullish is interesting to note, and that holding of the super trend thus far on the 1 minute and that weighted moving average. We'll see. So far, a minute just closed beneath the cloud. Starting to rip beneath it. Why did it? Okay. All right, so it looks like we're targeting this 8 bar back at the 500 region. Just took some 50 points out with a contract there. Gonna move the stop into profit just to be securing a win on the live. That's it. If it won't lag so much, geez Louise. It'll move automatically when it reaches the 100-point region. There we go. Now it's trailing. We're getting some momentum to the downside here. We entered 2-3 contracts on that with a wide stop that's now trailing. We secured 75 on the 3 contracts. We're now back at the 200 on the 16, which is the 50 on the 32 bar here on the Renko. They could come back and clear this little bit of low that bounce they had. We're now getting basically, we'll just take that there. It's probably going to stop us out there, so we're going to just take a screenshot of that. Boop. All right. So that was your typical ABC to the downside here. You had this A, B retrace, and then when I saw them breaking the cloud here, sorry I couldn't explain it in the moment. We'll get there at some stage, but we saw this bullish divergence play out, and it started to fade on the cloud here, and when it started to fade and close candles beneath the 30-second and the 1 minute, that's when I decided to pull the trigger. And I pulled the trigger on 3 contracts into that open, and yeah, we're in the money now. So hopefully this draw to the downside is momentous, so that I get the maximum amount on my 2 contracts. Let's see if it's still in. Yes, we are. Our contract moved tighter on the stop loss into profit. We like to do it into momentum like that. So we secured 134 ticks. Let's just take another screenshot of this. Boom. So that took the all right. Okay. So up now, it's going to draw into that and take that zone, that active zone. It just took out the entire zone, and now we got 152 ticks secured, even if it bounces here and takes us out of the trade. And that was essentially, so far, 3 for 3. I mean, there was one which stopped out on the same attempt, so it's 3 for 4, but that one redeemed itself. So you reclaim this zone. There's also the 8-bar pool that we're in, so we're getting a little bit of a bounce here. The dollar cost average bounce. You're also at the oversold region on the Optima here. It's funny how this C level went exactly to that point and stopped. All right, so you're starting to get the oversold region on the Optima, starting to get a little bit of a bounce-a-roo. That was a good 160 ticks in the bag. Anyone else take that? You asked if we are trading this. Ah, not yet. I see, I see. Boom. So that was a nice little break of the cloud. So I'll show you one more time what I was looking at here. So right here, I'll use an arrow. So right here, we broke beneath the cloud and we closed the candle beneath that cloud, and we started to get that DNA helix of the cross down on the baselines. And yeah, I was just like, you know what? I'm seeing the money fly away here, and I'm not seeing anything stack on the table, so I'm just gonna pull the trigger. And then boom, sure enough, it was straight into profit from there. A break of the cloud to the downside. It was also the 1 minute cloud close here beneath the cloud, and then we took that to the downside. Now we're starting to get that little dollar cost average bounce of the longs, that DCA, that are trapped, and or people like myself that just got taken out in profit, so that they don't have to pay them any further, so they can get a win-win on both sides.
Fatality.
And that's what happens if they're going to dollar cost average. They might get taken off, and this could be a bearish retest of that adaptive, and then you could be breaking down through to the other side down below. And we've seen this rinse and repeat on the live, like last Friday. It's like literally the same thing from Friday, except I was playing this counter trend bounce. I wasn't catching this trend last time, so this is a better play that I just captured right there. Just as fast though. And this cross-up event, the baselines have you at hello. They tell you like there might be a little bounce here, you might want to trim, or think entering. So it all depends on your stop loss and that ATM strategy. Like you saw how fast my thing automates. Sometimes you have to be that fast depending on what type of thing you're expecting. The one here, I had a wider stop, but the bounce into the open was a very tight stop, a burst type stop strategy. I'm happy to share that within the Discord as well. Different type of modalities for different types of markets, you know. So we're getting that rejection off the adaptive right away, meaning they might have a juicy amount of contracts already fulfilled that they're looking to just drain right now. Let's go ahead and see what's cooking. So the 16 bar now bearish, broke the 200, did not get a bounce on the 200. The 8 bar went up to the super trend 1 and 2 and then rejected off that, coming back down for a possible C wave down. 32 breaking the 50 bar. Anyone that entered off of the 50 in a bullish manner is now getting taken for a ride, and they're going to possibly sweep down below at the 460 region to take out this higher low here on the 32, which would also be this bar on the 16. I quite like this because it reduces the noise and tells you where the pools are, and I don't need to guess. I don't need to go looking at fair value gaps and stuff. I can just stay zoned in on my momentum master and then use that to enter for entry. Still getting this cross up potential of the 1 minute though. Is this sleeper 1 minute going to give a little bit of a dollar cost average bounce up here to test this super trend, bearish super trend level and come further down, or are we just straight up bearish on bearish mode? Looks like, let's go ahead. I'm flat right now. I secured a nice win there, so I'm good. So I'm going to be looking at the contracts now with 𝗥𝗲𝗃. Link in the description. If you're just joining us, 14-day trial, you can get to see what's behind the candles in terms of a footprint chart. You can also trade off it. If we disconnect our rhythmic, we can see this update live, but I'm in a trade mode, so I'm not doing that right now. You had 427 buys right there at 480. So somebody in these 2 minute candles, 2, 4, 6, 8, in the last 8 minutes here in this range here at the 480 region, you had 427 buys enter. So that means there's a lot of dollar cost average people that are in this range, which is why they're probably going to just fatigue out and not even retrace up to like a 0.382 level. They just got somebody juicy at the 480 region. 400 contracts of buys. Yowzers. So this is why if you see this dollar cost, if you see this on the, and we're at the value area low by the way at 472. If you see these clusters and you see a lot of buys after a huge drop, it's just the B consolidation wave to take it lower in ABC, and the B is the trap to take it into a C. So if you see a lot of buys as we do here, it kind of insinuates that they're going to take out some of those buys, unless there is something they know we don't with this 233 buy contract that entered in the last 2 minutes. But I call it the dollar cost average bounce because they bounce only to give the false hope and impression of the upside, only to never let them get break even again, to take them to their implosion of their account. So if we go and hide this really quick and then go back to the, yeah, it's pretty bearish. I mean, you are getting some bullish divergence here starting to form on the money flow, but those contracts, that 500 contracts. And so within a larger framework, like this was an ABC, right? And then it started to pause, but this could be like an ABC within the ABC to go a little bit lower. And there they go at the 480 region, breaking to the 460s. And that's why the footprint had you at hello. Like I would have just looking at Momentum Master, I might have been like, hey, a bullish divergence thing, and gone long. But that's why I'm starting to look more at the footprints. Also, the cloud was still purple. There was no shift in the cloud. You'd want to see the shift and thin a little bit for a more thorough thing. All right, let's see who they stopped out here. Let's see if we can get, if this could be an Undertaker play. To take the Undertaker is popping up from the wrestler popping up from the grave after going low and stopping out a bunch. So you got the 233 there. So that was a 557 contracts at the 480 region, saying hold up, don't want to enter alongside those guys, no thank you. No bueno, senor. So the delta is now negative for the session. Previous 800, 900 contracts obliterated. So you're up at the top here, you had 956 session delta here, and then brrr, they took it all out.
Fatality.
Hey, what about my account?
You got to use the stop loss, my friend. And yeah, now you're starting to get the sells. The sells are starting to flood in here at the 466 region. You have about 220 stopped out at the 465. If we look at the hourly cumulative thing, we can see it over here on the left. 243 at 465, stopped out. You had 444, 357, 346, up at the 78 region too, 314, 237. A lot of sells getting stopped out and or shorts entering. So that was an extremely, they didn't even bother retracing. They're like, screw the dollar cost average. We got 400 contracts there. Lucky, and they just ripped it. RIP to those longs. Let's go ahead and get out of the 4-minute one real quick. So at some stage you'll see some sort of relief bounce for the to stop out some of the shorts. Let's go ahead and close this really quick, or minimize, and minimize that. So you're back at the higher low over here in the 450 region. We could come and tap this and stop out all of those longs that entered on this wave, hoping for a larger trend. This would also coincide with the higher low on the 32 bar. We're getting an immediate bounce off of the 8 bar here up into these 470, 480, these little liquidity pools of the shorts that entered here, perhaps. I'm not taking it. I don't know if it's done just yet. I don't see a thick enough divergence, but this is a divergence that's forming. You got a divergence crystal that'll pop up if it does react. The divergences only lock in once there's a reaction, but you can see them forming and you can make your decision before, of course. Getting a higher low on the oscillator here on the 1 minute. Starting to get this, these baselines are still holding above the price. You know what? I'm gonna just do something a little bit risky here. Let's just take a little bit of a bounce here, shall we? It's a small little pack. Only a $50 loss if we take it, but we'll take it. For a little bit of a dollar cost average bounceroo. The stop moves into profit, and that's how you secure it immediately. A little divergence play to the upside, securing 48 ticks, 50 ticks, and watch it trail like that. It's hilarious. And then it'll get the maximum out, and I'm out. There you go, 50 ticks and I'm out. 3 out of 4, and see the divergence now locks in as we pivoted. So that was a nice little play there. So fast that we couldn't even explain in the moment, but we'll just post what that was for the group to look at and myself later. So instant, you get that 50 ticks, and then the person hoping for their release up here is like, no man, and then it just, you kind of take their bounce. But it could cascade, and I could be wrong, and it could come all, it could be a D wave that goes on forever. I don't know anything, but that's how the divergence plays. You wait for a huge liquidity grab, and then there's a higher probability to bounce into profit with little to no effort. And if you're wrong, it's a small cost to pay, and then if you're right, you accumulate slowly over time. We're back at the cloud on the 30-second, and this is where the 30-second starts to shift if you start to reclaim it. And that could be some sort of market objective complete if it starts to curve here. We're not at that point just yet, but that's how you monitor if you're in, and then whether the baselines hold and whatnot. This is what the baselines are about on momentummaster.info for more. And that would have been a decent little play, a little bounce-a-roo. We took it for, you know, what it was worth in that moment. We're out now, once again, flat, so we don't have a bias. Don't want to have a bias in this volatile market. Take what when the taking's takeable. That bullish divergence was nice. And you see the money stack on the table, money stack, 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 and now it's fading. So that fade is telling you, like, you might want to get out, you know, if you're in a long, or at least move the stop relatively into profit. How's everyone doing out there? All right, so now we can kind of consider this entire thing completed. So we're gonna delete that. Actually, we'll leave it up just for reference later. But basically, we could take a trend-based fib extension level and say, okay, we came down to this, and wherever this takes us, let's just say it takes us, let's just do a fib retracement on this impulse to the downside here, impulse, and then let's just make it an equilibrium here. Let's just say we go up to the equilibrium and fade at the 504 region. This would be your kind of continuation idea. If you fade off this, your 236 confirmation of that idea would be at the 481, and then you'd be looking for like a larger ABC play of, let's say, something like this. You know, starting to get the momentum stack on the table. We did reclaim the cloud. The curvature of the cloud is starting to express itself here. And that's how you play divergences. The divergence bounce. No hesitation. After a huge liquidity grab. We saw all those 400 contracts up here at the 580 region. We were like not interested. They went a little bit lower, stopped out a huge amount, and we were like, all right, fine, whatever, we'll take it. That's why I'm trying to coincide this with the footprints to try to get no guessing, remove the guessing, just see who was actually stopped out. Where was the sell side taken out? In what amount? Where was the buy side entering? And why there's more buys entering than sells here, so I wasn't interested in buying that. Now we're starting to come up to that equilibrium point / weighted moving average. And it could always go into the pocket too if it's less aggressive, if they reach their market objective and they're trying to trap and stop out more of the shorts like they paid them. There's probably like a fair value gap in here somewhere too. If we go to like a 2-minute, probably at the 706 region, 524. That would also be the super trend on the 2-minute. So that would have been a decent play if you we're so inclined to take that long. It's reclaiming it completely. That's amazing. So it negated that entire pocket. So we're going to a deep retrace. Deep would have you back in here. And that was your bullish divergence. Let's just to confirm where it all started. Let's go back to where it started. This is what it looked like a moment ago. When we entered, you're just seeing this downside with the bullish divergence, and it was starting to form on the 1 minute with the cross-up event holding the baselines here, and we just pulled the trigger. Don't know what's going to happen in the moment. Now we're starting to see this bounce off, now starting to flip the 32 back to bullish. 8 bar just saw some straight upside from 470 all the way to 527 like that. If you just played the 50 SMA on the 8 bar right there with that flip, you could have just seen that massive move hold. So we're at the 786. Let's go ahead and see what was induced. So this is also what we were looking at. I'm going to just take a picture of this, where we were, rather. That's all good. So essentially we're down here in the dumps, and now that we're starting to make our way back up into this liquidity up above. Alright, so where we are at right now, 343 sells there. That could be people peeling off from down below, and or some trap shorts entering there, thinking that it's bound to fail at the 526 level. So if you're considering shorting, that's probably not where they're thinking to pull back necessarily. 343 contracts. What you want to see is a bunch of buys enter, and then the opposite is more likely to occur. So there's more sells here, so that could be fuel to keep going, because they peeled out the longs, and or shorts entered, so they could use that as fuel to keep going. So I'm not necessarily sold on shorting this right now based on this 343 contracts. And when you have another 15-minute candle to juxtapose, you can see that that 373 sells is definitely not from this leg down. It's now new, so they can juxtapose to see that that's fuel to take it higher, because the buys most likely peeled out there, and or shorts entered, so that gives them more fuel. Red gives you fuel to the upside, blue gives you fuel to the downside. Buy side versus sell side. Okay. I'm considering just doing it off of that sell that peeled out there, because I'll take the reins of it, because it could go all the way up to the clear out the buy side up above here and just go for the gold at this point. You flipped the 32 bullish now and you reclaimed. You went slightly below the SMA because as more people start eyeballing this through that guy's group and over leveraging with minis, then they're basically going to take it lower than that to scare them out. I'm not going to do it. No FOMO, man. But we basically negated that entire impulse, so this is completely, I mean, we could technically say you could reject off the 886, but I mean, you are getting to the top of the oversold region. It tends to fatigue at this value, which is why I don't have dots after the 65 value, because it starts to backtestably reject at that level. It's starting to get there at the 1 minute as well, so you start to get a little bit of a retrace to give a little bit more value recharge on this. The fact that you're getting money flying away as you increase is that sell off, those contracts peeled out that give it more fuel, which we just went over on the 𝗥𝗲𝗃 platform, link in the description. Yo, what's up, Dylan? Yeah. We took that little short to the downside and we took this little bullish divergence up, but we were running a tight stop because we weren't sure it was going to continue. But so that was a nice little D, because they did an ABC within an ABC and then created a nice D wave out, because they hit their market objective on that. And as I said, it starts to top out here and then it starts to fizzle to give a little bit more refuel on this oscillator, so you'll come back a little bit. Still haven't reached any target other than on the 8 bar here. We came back to these little lower high values and rejected off those at the 541 level. Still have yet to clear out anything on the 32 or the 16 here at the 564 region. See, now you're getting the bearish divergence starting to print as it pivots, but I'm not taking it. What's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Good? And that's how it resets some of that oscillator, and then it could just bounce off the Keltner channel and keep going. You got the 1 minute cloud shift too happening here as the momentum shifts. Today was much easier than yesterday for me. It was easier to pull the trigger. I was analyzing myself and I was like, I'm too hesitant for some reason. I just got to pull it. So I've just, you know, today I was a little bit more like, no, I'm doing it. Just do it. Just do it. YOLO. And it started to pay off more. I was more hesitant yesterday. I was saying to myself too, because I got stopped out in that big move in the open yesterday. The theory was right. And then I moved my stop into profit and got stopped out into profit before it ran. So I was like, you know, I'm going to just let it hit my stop or not, you know. Just treat it as if the money's already gone when you hit the buy or sell button. and accept it as gone. And then if it rewards you for being right, then it rewards you for being right. This is why having like an ATM strategy is important, because, you know, you can often dupe yourself into the pattern of belief that you could, oh, I'll just dollar cost average. I've been there before. Not a good look. Just let it hit you out and reset. Move on. Because we were looking back here, like if it rejects on a 0.5 or something, it comes down, and we were looking at areas down here, but it didn't do that, right? So I let it go. You didn't see me like hold on to that idea. And so if somebody did enter a short off the 0.5 or something, which I've done before, and then you're like, well, maybe, it's like, no, it's not happening. Just let it go. This is why these like C waves with that divergence is more like, for me, it's like what I've been focusing on the most, like here, right around here. This one was choppier, but yeah, like that type. I was hoping for a larger wave up with a thing down here, and then I would have considered that there. And you're getting that too. You're getting kind of like bearish divergence forming as it drifts higher and creates this regression trend to the upside. Booyah. Okay. So that was a massive little playaroo out of there. Just happy to get, we got like 50, and then we got the 160, so that was like 200, plus like a little 30 burst in the open. So it was probably like with the first failure of that was like 30 minus the other 30, you know, we had probably 12. So it's probably like 200 plus tick day so far. So not bad. Pretty good. Can't complain, can't complain. Getting a little bit of bullish divergence off that. Bullish divergence, bullish divergence. Cannot be ignored. The bearish divergence is over. We broke this impulse, it's gone now, see ya. That is the definition of a D wave. Bounce off the Keltner channel here. Cascading to the 1 minute. We're coming back into those highs, the buy side up here. Buy side at the 560 region. Let's see what's getting triggered here. And that was why this little bit of happiness down below, these cells basically fueled the fire. These 343 cells basically fueled that to continue higher, because cells just mean they don't have to pay as much of the longs, and or they have trapped shorts to take for a ride, and that's what they did. And then the more buys you see entering here, the more fatigue, because they've stopped out the shorts and or getting more longs interested, so they don't need to consider going higher. So blue equals fatigue to reverse down, red equals fatigue to reverse up. Once again, this is a free platform you can trade off of and link up multiple rhythmic accounts to, and basically, whoops, link is in the description. Register for a free trial. A toss made by some Ukrainian dudes. My friend's gonna meet up with them. He's actually in the Ukraine right now. Decent. They seem pretty nice. why not help out some people that are being invaded? All politics aside, but I know if China invaded Taiwan and started to come into Japan, I would fly drones into each and every one of those people that comes into my house to hurt my family. I know that much. All right, so we're getting more cells here, which, you know, take it for what it's worth. That's people peeling off. This 273 is probably Dylan. Congratulations, Dylan. And then they don't need to go down because the cells could be some shorts in the mix here. And you're stopping out some shorts here to the tune of 700, 800 contracts here. And that is how they could just keep ripping this and continue higher. And this is where the people that are entering short or dollar cost averaging the short, like, it has to go down. It's like it doesn't have to do anything because they can see this, just like I can see this, that, oh, okay, some people peeled out their buys, so we can drift higher and we don't have to pay these people, and or we're taking money from these shorts. You see what I mean? So the shorts that maybe enter here, that's like justification to go higher now. And only when they start seeing more buys, when they reach their market objective and they get a bunch of buys like this, and only buys, then they've basically expended the target. But now that you see red here, that's just more fuel, in my humble opinion. I'm still new to this, of course. But those are people, obviously, smart money targeting the highs, so they're also peeling out longs most likely there too, so they could just go higher for a few, for that extra squeeze-erific surge. So where was this kind of idea for a long you could have entered? Well, I mean, other than the bullish divergence, that was a pretty clear signal we actually pulled the trigger on. Was there a pullback at any time? Not really. I mean, I guess on this one candle on the 30-second, you had like one opportunity thereafter here. So if you had this impulse out here, and you had not even an equilibrium, I think that was like a, yeah, 618 bounce. So you bounced out of here. There would have been no way to know, though, unless you're in this candle here, in which case, yeah, that would have been in that moment. So you would have gone a little bit deeper than the equilibrium and then bounced out from there. So that would have been your entry model. If you were contemplating off the divergence and didn't want to bottom fish, you would have been like, all right, well, it showed some market shift. It pulled back here. Let's just pull the trigger at the equilibrium. Boom. That would have been a safer, quote-unquote, entry, but there is no such thing, really. It's all theorizing and speculation. So you're getting some little pullback here. Is this to induce, that's the bearish divergence. You're seeing a larger period bearish divergence on this oscillator, 𝗥𝗲𝗍 Momentum Master. If you're in the Discord, you can request access. It's not on our website here, but it's a new one just for the, specifically designed for Nasdaq. Boo, 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 boo. Getting the finger down signal, cross down on the 1 minute. You could just pull the trigger here. Let's see what is being induced. They could have hit the market objective with that. 228 legitimate buys coming in here. These are longs, so they have to pay those buyers, or they could take them for a ride lower. 45 minutes. We're 15 minutes away from the hour close. 15-minute created a wick on that close, and now you have these pools up above. That was a large amount of sell that came in from these people that peeled out their long contract profits at the highs there into the buy side liquidity. I don't think we're going to take it there. There's not going to be another trade presenting itself anytime soon. So what we're going to do actually is disconnect the Rhythmic account and show you what 𝗥𝗲𝗃 does when you connect a Rhythmic account. All right, so let's go ahead and do that now. Boop. Hide that, and then go to this, connections, connect the Rhythmic. Now it can move with the beat. So if you have an extra Rhythmic account, you can catch this in the moment, and or if you have a monitor, and you can execute trades. They have a DOM and everything with ATM strategies you can implement. We'll get into that when we have another probably elite the take profit. And what are these yellow and purple? You can set clusters using the indicator. So if you go into indicators, you can add cluster search, and it will tell you when there's 200 or whatever the number is on that time frame of contracts entered. So there's 274 buys entered, and you can get an alert to your phone, and you can set this to whatever time frame you want. So here you see 333 buys entered in the last 15 minutes there. That was most likely stopped out shorts. And you can get these. So, and then when you seamlessly, in the last hour, you had over 2,000 contracts, buys and sells enter up in this 547 region. And so you can get these. If you collapse the candles, it just turns into regular candles, and you can zoom in and see what's inside very seamlessly. Quite nice. Very intuitive, I think. If you got an extra monitor or some monitor real estate, it's not a bad thing to have. Seeing where these sells peel off and the buys enter and possibly get trapped and taken for a ride. And you see the cumulative volume delta. We are at 2,000 contracts of positive delta, now down to 1,000 as we knocked out some of those positive delta. So this is most likely people selling off so they could refuel. So when you see more sells here, how many of these are shorters and how many of them are just people peeling off longs into profit, and then they just need to shake off the dead weight before going higher, perhaps. If you zoom out too, like you can basically, like if I zoom out on the 15, you could basically see these cumulative delta volume here, and you could see there is some bearish delta volume slightly on this indicator here. We were making a higher high on the 15 and a lower high on the cumulative volume delta bars here, and that could have also given you a bearish divergence. So the bearish divergence off of the delta volume of Nasdaq is quite nice. I used to look at this stuff, or I still look at this stuff with Bitcoin, so it's not it's not a new thing for me, but this footprints idea and looking what's insinuating what is entering and leaving the candles at the wicks here is a good clue. Keeps you from guessing as much. Everything is a guess, of course, but the more educated the guess, the more informed of what's actually happening you could be. So as you see these buys increase, these are definitely longs re-entering, not shorts getting stopped out, because we already previously had buys get stopped out to the tune of that 333. So these new buys that are entering are potentially entering to their own demise, causing fuel to be to a C wave down. But they have to go retest, are these shorts or are were those peeled out longs? We're gonna have to get another monitor at some stage. I could see it over here where I just have this and I can hit a stream deck button to look at it and show you guys in the future. I gotta walk before I can run though. Walk before you can run. We got a nice streaming setup though. Nice monitor at least. So coming back into these cells is not obscene to think. Coming back into this 273 and 249. Let's go see what Momentum Master's up to. You got the hidden bullish divergence on the 30-second. Holding of the super trend on the 1 minute. Green dot of momentum, possibly going higher. If we look at, let's move the ATAS out of the way and click on NinjaTrader. Whoa. So if we look at the NinjaTrader, we see on the Renko that you're topping out on the 8 bar. 16 bar could be getting its first pullback after this leg up. 32 bar had an A, B, possible C, and could continue up to 600 on this bullishness of the 32, although this could just be a sweep once again of the shorts. Breaking the cloud here on the 30-second. 1 minute cross down event confirmed, getting a do not enter finger down twice in a row. Money flying away as you break the cloud. Stopped out 100 longs there. So the more red that you see, the more it's likely to have stopped out longs and or induce shorts for it to get fuel to bounce. It's very counterintuitive. That's why you always stutter on the idea of like, wait, sell side liquidity into the support. You don't sell into support, but that's what happens when you're stopped out or a neophyte in the shorting market. So then seeing more red as would cause the bounce, and then more blue up above would cause a rejection as well. This was a market objective being completed as they sold off into that high, so they came back a little bit to gobble up some of these late buyers. Five minutes for the hourly candle close. Essentially in the hour we have a giant wick to the downside, this entire wick, and then a little bit of an upside wick. So it's a kind of bull hammer if I measured it, most likely. But that's what all of those contracts that were in that 1 hour, and hopefully you enjoyed the hour with me, because from open to close we've gone nowhere, but we've gone somewhere together in this eternal moment. Hopefully it was in a positive direction. For me it was. And even if it's negative, there's no failure, only feedback. It's how you take the feedback and grow from it that is life. 957 buys here at that 550 level. We were looking at that back in the few candles ago on the 15. Seen a bunch of sells here beneath the 550 region, suggesting this is the cumulative delta as short, people not believing it goes higher, so that could mean it does go higher. You're also developing some buys right there at that 551 region. Money flow once again beneath the RSI, starting that wind up. We saw that wind up earlier today. Where was it? It was kind of back here. We were seeing this wind up, and then it brought it back up to the RSI and then dropped it. Is the ES topped out and ready for a pullback? ES, let's see. Is the ES topped out? I don't really normally look at the ES, but let's see if Momentum Master gives some sauce on that. You are getting some bearish divergence here on the 1 minute overall. I don't trade this, so I really don't know, but it looks like you had that same bullish divergence on Optima here that played out massively, and then you also had the bullish divergence leading into the open, or the rise up here, that turned into, it's not as clean, but let me go ahead and flip to this really quick. Oops, let's do that. So you had that hidden bullish money bag here that played out on the 4 minute. Same thing here, pre-market insinuation before the open into the bearish divergence, which played out. Money bag to the upside, you're starting to get overbought, kind of. If you get up into that 60 region, then yeah, on the 4 minute here. Still got the lines separated here on the 4 minute. It's not fatiguing just yet. If you started to get this closing with like a 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃 candle beneath the baselines, then I would start to say yes, but it doesn't look like it as of this moment in time. It looks like it could still rip up, similar to what is happening with Nasdaq right now. Nasdaq has more of a like an indecision by the looks of it on the 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃 anyway. It's doing that underneath the cloud, but you just got to burst up. Getting these green dots though, the momentum is starting to shift potentially to the upside. You have this hidden bullish on the 1 minute for an NQ. You got a reset of the money flow while you're getting a higher low on price action. That's weakness on the bear's part. And you're starting to get a little bit of a push. I would say you're getting more of a push to the upside here. And the hourly has closed. Let's close it out here. So where do we go from here? Well, you could go on the 32, you've basically cleared everything on the 8 bar up in a range here up until you start getting into the 600s. So if you go up, if you break these 70 region, then you could basically continue higher up into the 32 bar shift down here at the 600 region. You can come all the way up to 620. So if you start doing that, the market intention could be to have trapped those shorts and taking them for a ride even higher. The 32 bar is currently bullish. I wouldn't trade against that. This could be a ABC to an even higher leg up than it is currently. The 16 bar is pretty bullish, and you got bounce off the super trend 1. 8 bar is bullish as well as of this moment in time. But at some point you're getting bearish divergence forming. 30-second cloud is thinning here. I'm basically done trading for the day. I only trade in that hour and a half, being midnight my time. If I see something, I'll post it inside the group. I have trade alerts now that go out when I enter the trade with the setup or whatever. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It looks like the cloud's shifting here on the 30-second though. You could be getting a burst out. Need to break this bearish super trend level. Had a previous money bag on the money flow here. It's basically chopped though. It's not my style of entry model personally. But if you just look at this fresh, because the way the divergence works and the reason why it won't draw a divergence line here is because divergence has to do with pivots, and then if you pivot, like eventually through time on this time frame, all of what happened before is not null and void. You can't grasp at straws too far away. I look at it like a fighter's stance. The tighter the fighter's stance is, the more they're able to guard, but the wider you try to grasp at straws between the pivots, the less likely the divergence is occurring. It generally occurs within a certain look back, and that's where the formula comes in, because it's looking back within a formula that's more likely to play out than not, like here and here. And beyond that point, it's like grasping at straws. It may or may not occur, but that's when you look at a higher time frame. Like if I go to the 2 minute, for example, you might see it on there forming. Oh my gosh, it's taking forever to load. I think my wife's playing Splatoon. But yeah, like here, there's getting some bearish divergence starting to form. But as we're breaking this, I think we could still just keep running. The shorts are in disbelief right here. They induced a trap. We saw a lot of those sellers enter in the footprints chart. So I'm not necessarily sold on a short here. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it, folks. Hopefully you had a good trading session. I know I did. So thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.